Justin, Jackie, welcome to On Stage, and congratulations on this beautiful dance theater work, Illinoise. Justin, I want to start with you because where did you get the idea of collaborating with Sufjan Stevens?
Oh man, I actually think the original inkling of the idea came from hearing this album in the first place.
Illinois. Not Illinois.
Illinois, yeah, at that time titled Illinois.
Yeah.
And I heard it when I was like 17 years old when it first came out. And I just remember feeling so blown away by the storytelling and the scale of it and the poetry of that album. And I just felt like this was something very special, and this person has an innate ability to write music for theater and for dance. And then since then, we've had the chance to collaborate together on probably 6 or 7 projects.
New York City Ballet?
Mostly with the New York City Ballet, yeah. He's written several scores that I've choreographed at New York City Ballet, so that's really where the bulk of our collaboration took place. And while we were working together at New York City Ballet, I was always kind of asking and trying to plant the seed about a project that would involve the Illinois album.
I think I read you were inspired by Twyla Tharp's Moving Out. You took the Joel catalog and turned it into a dance theater piece.
Yeah, I think like that was a really important work that I saw kind of around the same time when I heard Illinois, the album, when I was a teenager, and I would come to see Moving Out. I bought tickets a couple times, and then once I like ran out of money, I would sneak into the second act of it and at intermission, and just to get my eyes on as much of it as possible. And so that was a really influential piece. But I think this show stands on the shoulders of the giants of dance-driven musicals that have come before it, like Moving Out and many others.
I love it. And Jackie, the last time we were chatting, it was in Brooklyn. You're a very cool, hip playwright.
Oh,
this is your Broadway debut. You're coming uptown.
Yeah.
This is pretty exciting for you.
It's super exciting. I never would have imagined that this show would be able to be shared with so many audiences, or that I would have this collaboration that is so personally meaningful to me, that is also expanding the ways that we can make work together.
It's a beautiful queer story. Jackie just set the scene for this story.
Yeah, so you sort of follow a main protagonist. We've named him Henry, who leaves his boyfriend at home in order to deal with this trauma that's happened to him recently. And so he goes into the forest or into nature and finds a group of people, of friends of his community, of storytellers who are all wrestling with their own tragedies, their own deep questions and concerns. And through having everyone sort of share the things that are on their heart, on their spirit, Henry gets inspired to be able to share his own autobiographical story. And to me, it's a really sort of beautiful narrative about the importance of sharing the things that happen to us with other people.
Talk a little bit more about your collaboration and how this works. You know, does he set, some kind of movement, and then you go into, let me kind of create these characters? How does that work?
I do feel like this entire show is like born from Justin's genius, and it was like he'd done a workshop, and there was like an iPhone video of some of the choreography that he'd been able to put together.
And there's everything in this. There's ballet, there's tap. I mean, I love the big tap number that is in the middle of this production.
And that's a really beautiful point, because it isn't just ballet. There's social dance, there's gesture, there's modern dance, there's all kinds of different movement. And Justin's created his own movement vocabulary with this piece, or is maybe expanding his own movement vocabulary through this piece. And I think that I was there to help him think about the larger arc of the story outside of the studio, and thinking about like how to structure the narrative so that there's a catharsis, so that people are able to feel and release their emotions along with this music that is so meaningful to so many people. And then my other job was to basically sit in the studio and watch virtuosic dance happening and cry. It was
not
great.
a bad day at work.
No, not terrible.
Speaking of crying, there were a lot of people moved around me when I saw it. There were tears in the audience the night I was there. Why do you think that is? Why are people so touched by this piece?
That's a good question. I mean, I think that the show grapples with a lot of feelings around grief, around losing someone you love unexpectedly, and how to process that, how to come out on the other end of that. And I think the fact that we're able to express that through dance, which in my opinion has the ability to harness the most visceral of emotions, it just connects with people in a way that I think that maybe words might fall short. So that's all my theory. Like, I don't know exactly how people are connecting with it, but I too feel very like overwhelmed and moved by the fact that audiences seem to have like an emotional response to this. So
Yeah.
This album is beloved. People are obsessed with this album. Were you guys fan? Well, obviously I know you were, but were you a fan of this album prior to working on it?
I was.
Yeah.
I've said this before, but I really associate it with my decision to move to Chicago with my then boyfriend, now husband.
Wow.
It's like that album was the soundtrack of that decision in my early 20s, and so many people have stories like that about like this pivotal part this album played in some decision or some experience that's at the center of their lives.
I love that. Justin, Jackie, thank you so much for coming in, and congrats on Illinoise.
thank you
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your communities, click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV for the latest information, balanced coverage, weather updates every 10 minutes, and more. We'll see you then.